Have you ever noticed that the people who think they're the most attractive usually spend the most time trying to prove it? Then there's another person. They walk into a room, say hello to everyone, smile, sit down, and somehow people naturally drift toward them. No big entrance, no showing off, no trying to impress anybody, yet people notice them. That's always fascinated me. Because if you ask that person, do you think you're attractive? They'll probably say, me? Not really. And that's the funny part. Most people don't actually know the impression they leave on others. We spend so much time looking at ourselves through our own eyes that we forget other people see a completely different version of us. Maybe you've done this before. You leave a conversation and immediately start replaying everything in your head. I talk too much. I shouldn't have told that story. I probably sounded awkward. Meanwhile, the other person goes home thinking, that was one of the nicest conversations I've had all week. Funny how our minds work, isn't it? Carl Jung believed there's always a part of ourselves that we don't fully see. While we're busy focusing on our flaws, other people are noticing qualities we completely overlook. So today, I want to share 2 simple signs that you may be much more attractive than you realize. And no, this has nothing to do with having perfect skin, or wearing expensive clothes, or looking like a celebrity. This is about the kind of attraction people feel before they even know why they're feeling it. As you're watching, I want you to think about your own experiences. You might suddenly remember someone from years ago, a conversation you never thought twice about, or a moment that finally makes sense. If that happens, come back and tell me in the comments. I love hearing those stories because they remind us that we're all more alike than we think. All right, let's get into the first sign. Sign 1. People become extra friendly around you. Have you ever walked into a place planning to be there for 2 minutes, and somehow you leave 20 minutes later because somebody kept talking to you? You only wanted to buy toothpaste. Now you know the cashier's favorite vacation spot, their dog's name, and what they think about pineapple on pizza. You walk out thinking, how did we even get here? It happens more often than people realize. Some people naturally make others feel comfortable, without trying, without planning it, without even noticing, and when people feel comfortable, they open up, they smile more, they joke more, they become friendlier than they usually are. Think about it. Have strangers ever asked you for directions even though there were 10 other people standing nearby? Have people randomly started conversations while waiting in line? Have you ever had someone tell you their entire life story while you were just sitting on a bus or waiting for an appointment? It almost feels like people look at you and think, yeah, I can talk to this person. That's a gift. And most people who have it don't realize they have it. A friend of mine told me something that still makes me smile. He was standing in line at a grocery store. The woman in front of him turned around and said, I don't usually talk to strangers, but you seem like a nice person. They ended up chatting until it was time to pay. When he told me the story, he said, I have no idea why she picked me. Maybe she didn't either. Sometimes our minds make decisions before we're even aware of them. Jung often talked about the way people respond to the energy and personality beneath the surface, not just appearances. Some people carry calmness wherever they go. Others carry warmth. Others have a quiet confidence that puts everyone at ease. People notice those things even if they never say it out loud. Here's something you can try. Think about someone you genuinely enjoy being around. Now ask yourself why. Was it because they had perfect hair? Probably not. Was it because they wore expensive shoes? Most likely not. You probably remember how they made you feel. Maybe they listened without interrupting. Maybe they smiled when they saw you. Maybe they remembered something important you once told them. Those little moments stay with us. That's attraction most people never talk about. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's powerful. There's another funny thing I've noticed. The people who make others feel comfortable are usually the ones saying, I'm actually kind of shy. Isn't that interesting? Being quiet doesn't stop someone from being attractive. Sometimes it does the opposite. People become curious. They want to know more. They wonder what you're thinking. They enjoy your calmness because the world already has enough noise. So if people naturally become friendlier around you, if strangers seem comfortable starting conversations, if people smile when they see you, don't brush it off too quickly. It might be one of those quiet signs that your presence is more attractive than you've realized. Now, the second sign is even more interesting, because it usually happens without anyone planning it, and once you notice it, you'll probably start seeing it everywhere. Now let's talk about the second sign, and this one is surprisingly easy to miss, because when it's happening, it feels completely normal. You don't think much of it, until one day you stop and think, hold on, why does this keep happening? Sign 2. People keep finding reasons to stay around you. Have you ever said goodbye to someone, only for the conversation to continue for another 10 minutes? You both already agreed it was time to leave. You even started walking in different directions. Then someone says, "Oh, one more thing." 5 minutes later, there's another one more thing. Then another. Eventually, you can't even remember what the original conversation was about. You just know neither of you has actually left. It's funny because we've all been there. Sometimes you're outside someone's front door talking. The conversation is over. You say goodbye. Then somehow you're still standing there talking about your favorite food, your childhood, or whether cereal counts as soup. Nobody planned it. It just happened. Why? Because when people enjoy your company, they naturally look for ways to extend the moment. They don't always realize they're doing it. They simply don't feel rushed to leave. Think about your own life. Who are the people you never seem to get tired of talking to? Those are usually the people who make you feel relaxed. Time feels different around them. Hours can pass without either of you noticing. Now imagine someone feeling that way about you. That's more common than you think. I remember hearing about a man who visited the same small bookstore every Saturday morning. At first, he would buy a book and leave. After a few weeks, he started talking with the owner for a minute or two. Then those few minutes turned into 15. Soon, every Saturday became less about buying books and more about the conversation. One day the owner smiled and said, "You know, I think you come here more for the conversation than the books." He laughed because she was right. The books were just the excuse. The real reason was that he enjoyed being there. That's how attraction often works. Not always romantic attraction. Sometimes it's admiration. Sometimes it's comfort. Sometimes people simply enjoy your energy. Carl Jung believed that genuine human connection isn't built on pretending to be someone else. It's built on authenticity. People are naturally drawn to those who are comfortable being themselves. And here's something I've noticed. The people who are always trying to impress everyone often struggle to build real connections. Meanwhile, the person who's simply honest, kind, and relaxed somehow becomes everyone's favorite person to talk to. That tells us something important. Being attractive isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. Have you ever met someone who wasn't the loudest person in the room, but everyone still wanted to sit near them? That's the kind of attraction you can't measure with a mirror. It comes from how people feel when they're with you. Maybe you've experienced this at work. Lunch break is over. Everyone should be heading back. Yet someone is still standing by your desk saying, "Before I go." Then another story starts. Or maybe after a family gathering, everyone has already packed their bags. One person says, "We're leaving now." 30 minutes later, they're still talking at the front gate. Families are experts at this. Sometimes saying goodbye takes longer than the visit itself. Those moments remind us of something simple. People stay where they feel happy. People return to places where they feel accepted. and people continue conversations when they genuinely enjoy the person they're talking to. If that keeps happening around you, don't ignore it. It may be one of the quiet signs that people enjoy your presence much more than you realize. Now here's something I think all of us need to hear. We spend so much time criticizing ourselves. We notice every little flaw, every mistake, every awkward moment. We remember the conversation where we stumbled over our words. But we rarely remember all the conversations that went well. We think about the one person who didn't smile. We forget about the 10 people who did. That's how the human mind works. It often focuses on what's missing instead of what's already there. Carl Jung encouraged people to understand themselves more deeply. Part of that journey is realizing that the story you tell yourself isn't always the story everyone else sees. You may think you're ordinary. Someone else thinks you're unforgettable. You may think you're too quiet. Someone else feels peaceful around you. You may think you're awkward. Someone else finds you genuine. It's amazing how different those perspectives can be. So here's a little challenge. Over the next few days, pay attention. Notice who smiles when they see you. Notice who keeps the conversation going. Notice who seems happy just to spend a little extra time with you. Don't look for compliments. Don't go searching for approval. Just observe. You might be surprised by what you've been missing all along. And if nothing else, I hope today's conversation reminds you of one important thing. Your value has never depended on looking perfect. The people who truly matter usually remember something much deeper. Your kindness, your sense of humor, your patience, your honesty, the way you make them feel when they're around you. Those are the things that stay with people. Those are the things they talk about long after you've gone home. So if you've ever looked in the mirror and thought, I don't see what everyone else sees, maybe that's exactly the point. Maybe you've been measuring yourself by the wrong standard. Attraction isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's the calm person everyone feels safe talking to. Sometimes it's the friend everyone calls when life gets difficult. Sometimes it's simply being the person who leaves others feeling better than they did before they met you. And that kind of attraction never goes out of style. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Which sign sounded most like your life? Do people naturally become friendlier around you? Or do conversations with people always seem to last longer than expected? Share your experience in the comments. I always enjoy reading your stories, and you never know, your comment might encourage someone else who's feeling a little unsure about themselves today. If you enjoyed spending these few minutes with me, I want to say thank you for being here. These conversations are not just about psychology or understanding human behavior. They're about understanding ourselves a little better, because sometimes we spend years trying to figure out why people don't notice us, why we don't feel confident enough, or why we compare ourselves to others. But we forget something important. Every person has something special about them that they might not even see. Maybe it's your kindness. Maybe it's your ability to make people feel comfortable. Maybe it's the way you listen when someone needs to talk. Maybe it's the way you bring peace into a room without even saying much. Those little things matter more than we realize. So the next time you look at yourself and only notice what you think is missing, remember to also notice what you bring, because someone out there may already appreciate something about you that you have never given yourself credit for. If you enjoy exploring psychology, human nature, relationships, and the hidden parts of being human, make sure to subscribe and join this community. Here, we talk about the things we all experience, but don't always talk about. The thoughts we keep to ourselves, the emotions we try to understand, and the little moments that reveal who we truly are. So until our next conversation, take care of yourself. Be patient with yourself. Keep being kind. Keep being genuine. And never forget, the most attractive thing about a person isn't something they buy. It isn't something they wear. It isn't something they can create overnight. The most powerful kind of attraction comes from who you are when nobody is watching. It's in your honesty. It's in your warmth. It's in the way people feel after spending time with you. Because at the end of the day, people may forget what you looked like. They may forget the clothes you wore. They may even forget the exact words you said, but they rarely forget how you made them feel. And that is a kind of beauty that time cannot take away. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope this video reminded you to see yourself a little differently. Until next time, stay curious, stay true to yourself, and remember, you might be far more special, more appreciated, and more unforgettable than you think. I'll see you in the next video.